The Cullen Commission's report into BC's money laundering crisis zeroes in on 5 elected officials, including one premier who touched the gaming file during their time in office. Here's what Cullen found about what they knew at the time and what actions they took and failed to take to stop dirty money from flowing into the province. Rich Coleman was the minister responsible for gaming for 3 periods. From 2001 to 2005, there was very little money laundering in the province, but from 2008 to 2011, it starts to pick up speed. Cullen found that by 2010, Coleman was presented with significant evidence that money laundering was becoming a massive problem. But instead of taking action, Coleman downplayed the issue in the media, making these comments in 2011 after the CBC aired a story where a senior RCMP officer confirmed he'd found dirty money.
I don't think you get to go make a comment like that when you're in charge of a section that's supposed to actually be doing the investigations.
Cullen found there was a need to take aggressive action during this period as the issue spiraled out of control. He found Coleman failed to do so. Shirley Bond was gaming minister for less than a year, from 2011 to 2012, a critical period when money laundering was accelerating. But Cullen found she had little experience on the file and wasn't briefed properly on the issue. He ultimately concludes that while Bond missed opportunities to stop money laundering, she wasn't responsible for its growth. Mike de Jong was the minister responsible for gaming from 2013 to 2017. During de Jong's tenure, money laundering accelerated and reached its peak. From 2013 to 2015, Cullen found that de Jong took no meaningful action, but it doesn't appear he was given information about the extent of the problem. In September 2015, he was finally made aware of just how much suspicious money was flowing into casinos, over $195 million in 2014 alone. Almost immediately, he creates the Joint Illegal Gaming Investigation Team and issues a letter to the BC Lottery Corporation. Cullen concludes that de Jong acted swiftly once he saw the evidence, but that considering the extent of the crisis, the actions he took were not enough and lacked urgency.
Those of us who served in the previous government need to acknowledge that, and I certainly do.
Christy Clark was premier from 2011 to 2017, the worst period for money laundering in BC. Cullen found that Clark was aware and concerned about money laundering after reading about it in news stories. But from 2011 to 2015, she largely trusted her ministers to stay on top of the problem. Between 2015 and 2017, Clark was directly warned of troubling developments. But she didn't talk to de Jong about immediate steps to stop suspicious cash from entering the province's casinos, and she didn't seek out more information to understand how to stop the problem. Cullen acknowledged that as Premier, Clark had a massive portfolio, but says by 2015 it should have been a priority for her. He found her failure to act did contribute to a rise in money laundering. In 2017, David Eby became BC's Attorney General and the minister responsible for gaming. He was briefed by the BCLC and the Gaming Policy and Enforcement Branch, which painted 2 very different pictures of how bad the problem was. Eby decided to seek independent advice. That led to former RCMP Commissioner Peter German's 2018 report called Dirty Money, which found that $100 million had been cleaned in BC thanks to collective system failure. Cullen concluded that Eby, like Bond, was not responsible for the rise of money laundering in BC. He found that Coleman, Clark, and de Jong showed a failure of will to deal with the problem. Cullen said the 3 politicians could and should have taken more actions to stop it, but he stopped short of calling it corruption, saying none of them appear to have been motivated by political, personal, or financial gain. Michelle Gassoub, CBC News, Vancouver.